The wildlife is what really drove Kevin to move here as well.
When we did this, all the cedar was given to us. So we were pretty frugal about the whole process.
Yes. We wanted more of that open concept. And so this is how we ended up with our kitchen the way it is.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Elizabeth. Come take a tour. Welcome to our kitchen. We have a butcher block countertop here where you can dine. And then on the wall, we have photos that we've taken from Montana, just around the area. With the butcher block countertop, we made it long enough so that when you need to do dishes, you have a space to do so, or to sit here and dine, or if you happen to be using the microwave or whatever, you have a place to put your food or hot pads and so forth here. And it just gives you that space to work. So we chose the open shelving just because there's not a lot of storage here in the cabin. And it just gives it a nice touch to the home. So the cabinet down here has a pull-out drawers, and that just gives us the opportunity to put spices and pots and pans in here. It just gives it a convenient storage. And then we have this lovely window here that you could look out and see the wildlife. So we chose this deep sink just to be able to do your dishes and enjoy life here if you wanted to leave them for the next day, whatever you choose. So then we chose this 4-burner stove with the oven. It is propane, but convenient for you to be able to cook out here if you choose to go that route. The flow of our kitchen had changed over time, and that's okay because we had to really think the whole process out. You know, the bathroom and where it was placed, and the stove and the refrigerator. And so we wanted more of that open concept. And so this is how we ended up with our kitchen the way it is. So here we are in our living room. We purchased this electric fireplace, and it has the option of flame with heat or without. We originally had a propane fireplace in here, which worked out nice, but we decided to go ahead and go with the electric instead. We have some really nice windows in here that brightens up the room more. The furniture is from Costco. We every time we went shopping at Costco, we ended up with some furniture. So that made it kind of fun though. The couch does lay down into a bed, which is a wonderful option for those that don't want to go up into the loft. The ladder, we purchased a couple of the blankets, but I also made one to flow the colors together in the cabin. So the beam that we have up here, we were given, and we thought we had to just put this touch to the cabin that would really make it rustic looking. And so then we added the fan to bring some cool air and light in. So the shelf up here, my husband put a couple of cedar planks together and made this beautiful shelf. And I was able to find some decor from around town that brings the Montana mountain theme in. And so that was what we did up here. So on the wall, we applied a texture spray, and we really like the look of that in the cabin. On this side, we have the ladder that my husband built that leads up into the loft, and he'll meet you up there.
We moved here about 8 years ago. Elizabeth is originally from Montana. I'm originally from Illinois. Spent 30 years in the military, and at the end of my career, I told Liz, hey, you can figure out where you want to retire. So she picked Kalispell, Montana.
We were blessed to find this place. It was one of the first places that we looked at, and the wildlife is what really drove Kevin to move here as well. Initially, when we built the cabin, it was for just family and friends to have a place to stay when they came. Yeah, however, we have used it as a ministry. We've allowed people to come and stay out here just to get away from their home and work. and just have a quiet resort to hang out in and just regroup.
So it was a blessing. It's something that neither one of us had ever taken on an effort like that. We fiddled around with some woodworking and things like that. We could drive a nail.
Yeah.
But literally, we poured all the concrete ourselves, mixed it for the foundation. We put in every nail ourselves. We put the roof up, didn't know how. Of course, we YouTubed a lot of it. We also had some friends and family that would come out and give us their part of expertise on what they could help us with, and the heavy lifting, of course.
Yeah.
But basically, it was me and Elizabeth that just did it. So it was fun. It was a project that lasted quite a while, and we enjoy the heck out of it. And we just wanted to share it with other people now and let them see what we've accomplished. Basically, when we went to build the tiny cabin, we were looking at the loft and would we turn it into the bed area or not. We decided, that's what we wanted to do. We also had to think about the peak of the roof so that we could actually be able to stand up here and not hit your head everywhere and utilize the space that we could. So that's why the peak of the roof is so steep. Additionally, we wanted a steep roof because we get quite a bit of snow up here in northwest Montana. So when we did this, all the cedar was given to us. There was a guy that was tearing some cedar out of a place, and it was a couple, 3-4 truckloads of it. So we had to go ahead and resand everything, cut the bad spots out where they had demoed it, and get all the nails and all that out. But there was plenty of cedar left to go ahead and build the cabin, and plenty to be left over. Something unique though with the pitch of the roof is it caused us to have to build our own trim work. So that was unique, and we didn't plan on that, but we worked through it. And just did the angles ourselves and just milled it out and did the angles on the miter saw, and everything worked out pretty darn good for us in the long run. So, but that was one unique thing that we had to do. Additionally, we did a lot of milling work as well on a sawmill. We have a lot of trees on the land, and one of the things we did is as you cut the first layer off of the tree, it leaves the bark and things, and we used the railing. We used a piece of that for the railing just to give it that outside feel like my wife was talking about earlier, just to bring the outside into the cabin. So another thing, when we were up here in the loft, we had to figure out how to make it feel more roomy, but yet get the stuff that you needed to make a bedroom out of it. So the bed came from Costco, so I know a lot of people like that. It's quick, easy. You get to see what you're looking at and what you want. It is a queen size bed. We wanted at least that big up here, so that was a limiting factor on the rest of the stuff. However, my wife had her old dresser from when she was a child. It's been sitting around for a while. We decided, hey, it's a 2-drawer dresser. It fit perfect in here. Just a little decor from one of the stores locally here, and then a tree here. They come from Hobby Lobby as well. And then just some lighting and things like that we had here. We also, when we were thinking ahead, we put 2 outlets here and here. We wanted them low enough that you could hide them, and then we also knew that up here would be probably where you would charge your phone or be able to read at night. So we did put 2 separate outlets up here, and we thought through that as well. Basically, throughout my military career, we moved quite a bit. So we never really had a piece of land that we can call our own. We would move every 4 to 5 maybe years, sometimes sooner than that. So throughout there, we'd purchased a house here or there, purchased some land here or there, thought we were going to build on those plots or keep that house forever, and we just didn't. Life took different turns. So, we sold them off. We always applied what the money we made off those to the next place. And Montana became the place we decided to retire and come up here. So that gave us 8 acres, a little over 8 acres here. So a cost, it's a little hard because a lot of it was just given, or I'd scrounge it. The cedar was going to be thrown away, and so I just went and got 3 or 4, I bet, truckloads of it and trailer loads of this cedar that had been ripped out of the ceiling. So we would take sections of it that were good, and we'd go ahead and resand it and cut out the nails and cut out the bad ends and come up with whatever we could to go ahead and make it. So most of the cedar, or all the cedar inside, was reclaimed cedar.
Right.
So really, if you look at the foundation and the flooring, that was about $1,000. We did it all ourselves, mixing the concrete. And then you go up to the walls and things like that, I think that was probably another $1,000. And by the time you get the roof on and all that, I would think we were at about $6,000 to $7,000. We didn't keep exact receipts, but that's about what it would cost us to do. And then, just like I said, a lot of it was just finding at yard sales or just picking up things from friends that had it, looking online for used things, and just put it all together, really. So it was relatively cheap, but you gotta know how to go out and find those values and look for it. A lot of the things we got at Costco, you just wait until it goes on sale. You save a couple $100 there as well. So we were pretty frugal about the whole process.
Yes.
So in the bathroom, we had to make it very small for the tiny home. It's a little inconvenient, but it's big enough to function just pretty much as what you need. A smaller shower, of course. We have a smaller sink, minimum storage, and then the toilet over here. So being as we're out in the woods here in Montana, we also had to think about how are we going to get water here? How are we going to get electric here? How are we going to get, septic system to work? So the water, we put a 60-gallon water tank out back. And so we just took and thought of a camper. What would we do in a camper? So we put a camper water heater in, we put the pump from a camper in, and then the septic system as well is a camper septic system. So it goes into a storage tank. We can take that storage tank and then just take care of the solid waste later. So when we went into the septic, we had to look for the tank that was going to hold all the sewer and take care of that. So what we did was, again, we went back to the camper idea, and there's different size tanks you can get. We settled on about a 26-gallon tank. It lasts 3 to 4 days if we need to, longer if we have to. And then basically when it gets to where you think it's full, you just unhook it. You can take it, put it in your truck, take it into town or wherever you need to go to dump the sewage. The thing we did too with the water was we took every connection. We have a shut-off valve there because we weren't sure, being this far away from town, we had to be able to shut off water as we needed if something would happen or we had a break. This is our outside area. So what we did was, being as it is a tiny home, we needed some place that we could just get out and breathe the fresh air in Montana here. So what we did was we just created this space, just a simple mat on the ground, couple lounge chairs, brought a log from the firewood that we're going to cut and split, but that was just about the right size to use for the flower pot. This is an end of a stump that we just cut off just to have for a table or just to put things on out here. We use a propane fire pit most of the time. We can do a live fire out here, but it depends upon the time of the season. There's a lot of no burn time that we can't because of the forest fires and things like that, how dry it gets up here in northwest Montana. We use birch off the land, so I just cut a couple birch here, drove them into the ground to hold up the awning, and it just provides some shade for us throughout the day. So that's the sitting area. So another little bit of advice I would give is when you start to go in and look for land, there's some things you really need to pay attention to. Does it have electricity? Is it available, or how far away is it that you're going to have to get it to your piece of land? How much land do you want? It's not just land that's going to sit there. There's a lot of work to be done on the land. In the wintertime, the trees are going to fall. You got to pull them out to keep the fire breaks going and keep the brush up from underneath so that if a fire does come through, you're actually protected a little bit. So you have to think about those things as well. Is there a well on the land? How deep do you need to go for a well if you have to drill? Because here in Montana right now, from what I'm hearing, it could be up to a year to wait before you can actually get a guy to come out and drill a well. And then you don't know how deep you have to go to get to the water. So you have to do your research in that as well. Look at neighboring plots of land, how far do they have to go? That's all things you can get on the county records. You just have to think through, what are your dreams? And I call it punching holes in a boat and see if it sinks. If you can't patch the hole, then you probably shouldn't buy the boat. So that's how I look at it. But you just need to think through your thought process and what do you really want out of life, and is it worth it? But nothing comes free, and it is a lot of hard work. So thank you for spending some time with us today, and we just appreciate you coming and seeing what we have, enjoying the land, and looking at our tiny home here, a tiny cabin.
Yeah, if you happen to be in the area or would like to contact us to stay at the cabin, we're more than willing to have you here. You can contact us at alotapines@gmail.com. That is ALOTAPINES@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us. We are blessed to have this cabin and to have built it by ourselves, and wanted to share it with those in the world.
Thanks.